And welcome back. As Americans vote in this important midterm election, NBC News is out with its final poll before Election Day tomorrow. And among the big issues facing voters, you could see almost a quarter say threats to democracy is most important. 20% saying jobs in the economy, 17% saying cost of living, and then abortion and immigration and the border. Of course, if you add jobs in the economy and cost of living together, it is, a very big chunk of the electorate. Let's bring in right now, joining us live, Mark Murray, NBC News senior political editor. Mark, I know you follow this poll more than anybody. It's really great to kind of get your perspective on it. What is your big takeaway as we're now just 12 hours away from polls opening here in New York?
Michael, our final national NBC News poll shows two very big forces at play heading into election night tomorrow night. And force number one are just the normal fundamentals of a midterm environment where 44% of voters approve of Joe Biden's job performance. That's danger zone for a party that controls the White House and Congress. You have 72% who believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. 81% who are dissatisfied with the state of the economy. Add up all those numbers, and this looks like your ordinary type of midterm thumping that the party that controls the White House usually ends up receiving. But the other force at play that our poll finds is that Democrats have now pulled even with Republicans in having high interest in the election. And remember, a midterm election is different than a presidential, where not as many people end up voting, although we are expecting a pretty high turnout for tomorrow night. But usually the party that is in control of the White House and that controls Congress isn't as fired up as the opposition is. Well, our poll shows that both sides are equally fired up right now, and that could help Democrats end up staving off some losses that you would ordinarily receive when your side isn't as fired up.
Mark, I've only got about 30 seconds left, but I know you also asked about this concern about a rise in political violence this election cycle. What did that tell you?
Our poll right after the attack on Paul Pelosi, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, asked the question, who is more to blame for the threats and political violence and the increased threats and political violence? And number one on that list, social media, where 70% of Democrats, 70% of Republicans, and 70% of independents all pointed the finger more at social media than other factors.
Very interesting. Mark Murray is NBC News senior political editor. Thanks so much, Mark. We'll all be watching NBC's coverage beginning at 8 o'clock right here on Channel 2 tomorrow night. Best of luck to you as you cover all this.